Hello, we're back with Will, A Wonderful World. And as you can see, in the time since, I've gone ahead and messed around and gotten all the remaining endings for everything except the part where Kang Baekya and Chang Yong-min die. I'm starting to think that maybe I don't need to find something else to fix that. Maybe I'm just not finding the right combination for these two. Because they're not grayed out or anything. They're just sort of eternally stuck in a place where they die. Because Gyeongmin needs a fucking gun. Gyeongmin needs a gun. And well, we can move this around. It doesn't really feel like we... Well, actually, you know what? Since I've gone ahead and gone to the trouble with that, it doesn't really feel like there's going to be any difference, though. To do a recap of this, Gyeongmin wants to save his supervisor, Kang Baekya, but needs a gun. Unfortunately, the police is a very bureaucratic institution that involves paperwork, including paperwork to check out a gun. That includes needing paperwork to be signed by the lieutenant of your unit, who is kind of in the life or death situation he needs a gun for. Or have the pink form signed by the captain of the station, but it will be in 5 hours, but you have to wait 5 hours. And Kang Baekya probably doesn't have that time. Just to reset things back to the way they were, Baekya also happened to find a toy gun that we were able to move over to Gyeongmin's situation. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, wait. Usually this is all connected. Like, this entire thing is connected. It's not connected. Does that means I can put the toy gun after he tears the pink form, right? Let's give that a go. Because the toy gun, we can't move these there. We can't move the forms over, and the toy gun is useless to the lieutenant. I didn't notice this before, so let's give that a look. We have a new ending. Have I just been blind this entire time? I could have solved this ages ago. Like, the story I'm the most invested in out of all the people that we have as a god is Kang Baekya. And I've been giving up on this all this time? For what? I felt blood rush into my head and I picked up the gun. Then I turned back to the armory and slammed it on the desk. Thud. I dropped to the ground, on my knees. Sir, I have to tell you something. Becoming a police officer has always been my dream, ever since I was a kid. I've always thought that one day, when I finally became a police officer, I would be able to defend justice and help people who were in need. Even though Lieutenant Kang has a lousy temper, loves smoking, and is often mean to me, and always has me doing paperwork, and likes junk food. But as a police officer, a defender of justice, I can't just let him be in danger without doing anything. And, sir, if you don't loan me a gun now, it'll all be too late. The custodian turned his face back again, looking at the top half of my head behind the desk. While the tears were welling up in my eyes, it was nothing compared to the river coming down his face. Silence. I stood back up and dusted off my pants. Well, I tried. Wait. The custodian wiped his face clean and put on his jacket. I can't break the rules and loan you a gun. However, I'll come with you. Oh, by the way, bring this along too. The custodian stuffed a toy gun into my hand. A toy gun? Are you kidding me right now? However, the old man seemed dead serious, so I tucked the gun into my waistband. Still, as a rookie cop, all I had right now was a toy gun and the custodian of the checkout counter of the armory. I was beginning to feel uncertain about this rescue mission. The M134 abruptly stopped firing. Then I heard the sound of metal hitting the ground. I heard lots of people yelling outside. I peeked out and saw that Tue Johan was lying on the ground, unconscious. His lackeys were completely frantic and running around hysterically. I didn't know what exactly had just happened, but it was my only opportunity. I charged into the crowd and took a gun from one of the mobsters. However, even with the weapon, I was still outnumbered. Just when I was about to be swamped, I saw a shadow running behind those bastards. At first, I thought it was just my imagination. But then, the bastards suddenly began falling to the ground, one after another, and a familiar yet annoying figure jumped up onto a huge cargo container. With his left hand beside his waist, and his right hand waving some kind of strange white cloth, he shouted to the entire warehouse. "Listen up, you evil bastards! Today is the day that you're going to see justice being served! By me! I'm going to arrest every single one of you and bring you all to the police station!" I was 100% sure now. The only person who could say something like this without any irony was him. Who knew the kid had some talent, despite always seeming a little off? Thanks to him, half an hour later, the only people still standing were all from our side. I tossed another empty gun on the ground. One of those bastards was lying near my feet, and I saw half a pack of cheap cigarettes. Wasn't feeling picky at the moment, so I lit one for myself. Seemed to help with the exhaustion a little bit. What a night. I would need a beer when I got back, before I went to sleep. I sat down on the bottom of a random body nearby. He just went and sat on a dead person's ass? Okay. Way to dominate. I felt like I never wanted to get back up again. And then I looked at Chang Gyun-min. He had been jumping upside down for half an hour, doing his weird karate. But he didn't seem tired at all. Young people. You're operating without authorization. You know that, right? Yes, sir! This is me defending my justice! Yes, sir, my ass. Look at that grin of yours. What was the deal with your voice? So loud that it hurt my skull. Well, whatever. Seriously? That was all it took? That was all it took? We appealed to the custodian's sense of drama. And we saved the lieutenant. I've been stuck on this, and that was all it took. I'm so mad right now. We've got some new things because I went and got the rest of the endings, but we're gonna put a hold on taking a look at this. I wanted to see if there were any changes to this, but no, there wasn't. Jesus. Well, that's a lesson I've learned. And as a result, we have even more letters. Holy crap. We've got 5 in here, folks. 5. Alright. I'm backlogged, so time to do my job.
No puedo regresar.
First is Alicia, who dived with Swantails back again into, I guess, the main timeline. Then there's Jimmy, who got in a street fight?
为什么?
Wen Zhaoren has a final goodbye.
하나님, 나를 도와주세요.
부처님, 도대체 제가 뭘 어떻게 해야 되죠?
And by saving Gyeongmin and Kang Baekya, we have gotten the continuation of Gyeongmin's story, which has unlocked more for Park Sang-gun. You know what? That seriously would have been useful ages ago, like fucking ages ago. Also, why is Carlos stuck here? What have I not done that's keeping Carlos from continuing his story? I suppose we've had a longer break. Like this huge gap that marks the return of Wen Zhaoren. All of these seem like they're solo letters, too. The Final Goodbye, Street Fight, A Woman with Fiery Hair are all standalone letters. While Sang-gun and Gyeongmin are connected. I'm genuinely, out of all of these, because you can see in previews, in screen caps online, that at one point Jimmy gets a letter where he inputs fighting game commands. And you can tell it's Jimmy because it's green, and you can tell they're fighting game commands because they're quarter circle left, quarter circle rights. But because of that, we gotta figure out what Jimmy's up to. Jimmy's silhouette has changed. In the largest arcade of Mongok, Time Reversal Cup, the Prince of Fighters 97 Nostalgia Tournament. King of Fighters really was popular in Hong Kong. It even has its own manhwa series. But I was not expecting this. A giant banner was on display. The Time Reversal Cup had been the biggest tournament for classic fighting games in Hong Kong for a few years. It had also been an important source of income in my post-college independent life. That's why his silhouette's changed. He's not a teenager anymore. After graduating from college last year, I had moved out of my parents' house and rented a 30 square meter studio with a standalone bathroom. Never knew that rent could be so expensive. Never understood why people would want to buy stuff on sale. I never realized that part-time jobs barely paid anything. Not until I lost financial support from my father and mother did I begin to appreciate the challenges of life. Therefore, I must win the tournament. The prize money for winning the championship would be enough to cover my expenses for 3 months. I'd arrived not too long ago, and I'd been testing my machine. People were beginning to gather around, many of whom kept taking pictures with their phones. As the 2-time defending champion, I'd been placed directly in the semifinals, so I was expecting a little attention. However, today, I was feeling very suspicious about every one of these people. I was about to go and hide in the bathroom for a little while before the match. Suddenly, a wave of excitement washed over the crowd. A small kid had just walked up to the machine opposite mine. He was in his school uniform, wearing a pair of glasses, and his hair was parted to the left side. The staff thought we didn't know each other and started making introductions. Oh, music faded. This is the primary school killer. You must have heard of him. He has no more rivals left in the Jinsa-joy area. Last week, he challenged the entire North Key arcade. Nobody dared even say a word. I never thought that he would be my opponent today. I silently cursed all the gods and goddesses in my head. And then the punk kid held his thumbs down and made a face at me. The crowd booed loudly. The booing went right into my head, along with the history of our rivalry. Now watch out, you punk. Big brother here is going to teach you a lesson for the sake of your parents. Let me show you how to be polite and respectful to your senior. Oh. My Yogami versus his Kusanagi. They really did the Yagami versus Kusanagi like that. Damn. I give Jimmy a lot of grief, but I do love these references in his chapters. 2 games out of 3. In all honesty, our raw skills were mostly on the same level. But every time I played this kid, he would always be able to get into my head and mess up my inputs. I would be thinking of a punch, but press a kick. I was trashed in the first game. I tried my damn best to win the second game. Here came the deciding game. These people in the back, just how flat they are. The crowd had become wild. Time to go to hell, you little punk. Hell! 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 At this point, both of our HP gauges were alarmingly low. Our special moves were both fully charged and ready to go as well. Also, don't think I don't fucking see those Yuppie cabs in the back. Always appreciate the music game cameos. If either of us made a mistake right now, the other would immediately land a combo and finish the game. I slightly wiggled my sweating right hand and feigned a retreat. The punk kid took the bait. His punch whiffed. Now's my chance! I commanded Yogami to jump behind him, ready to unleash the final combo. Geishiki Yori Yori. 2B. 5A. 127 Shiki Akai Hana One. Oh, it's 1, not One. 127 Shiki Akai Hana 1. 127 Shiki Akai Hana 2. After 2 consecutive Akai Hana, my opponent had just been thrown into midair. It was finally time to end this game with a desperation move. Joystick. Joystick, half circle back. Joystick, half circle forward. Hard punch, C. It really loses all drama when you have to read out inputs like that. Ghostly purple flames appeared on Yogami's hands. Light pillars were bursting from the ground, one after another. Desperation move. Ura 108 Shiki Yo Sakazuki. Oh crap, that was the wrong move! It was an amazing move that could stun the opponent. But its only drawback was that it was also slow. Kusanagi quickly air-teched away from the pillars, nullifying my attack. Oh shit! The punk kid smiled behind his glasses. Kusanagi jumped on top of me and hit me right in the face. I was still in recovery from the previous move, so I couldn't defend myself. Kusanagi then kicked me into the air. Raging fire erupted in his right hand as he held it high. It then turned into a devouring firebomb while I was staring in shock. It blew Yogami into the sky! KO. As Yogami kept flying upwards on the screen, my heart was sinking all the way into the ground. I lost. My prize, gone. I might have to borrow money from my father to cover the rent this month. He would once again try to persuade me to go and work at his company. Mother would then try to set me up on a blind date, forcing me to meet people who I had absolutely no interest in. Yet I would have to pretend to smile the whole time. No! My dear goddess of fortune! Please take me away from here! I love you, Jimmy. You give me these wonderful references. These copyright-free, just barely fudged references. I'm actually not sure if, say, these moves are like maybe the actual moves. I may or may not be typing right now to see if they are. No. They are in fact just barely fudged, because Iori's move is 127 Shiki Aoi Hana. Blue flower, not red flower. So I love that these things show up in Jimmy's stories, but then Jimmy just being a terrible adult. Terrible person. That's not fair. Can I just have someone I love outright? Anyway, let's go ahead and change his moves. Change his inputs. So we get the right move. There is no actual clue, I think, in this actual text as to what I can change. as to what is the right answer. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be trial and error. So half circle forward, half circle back, and then hard punch. Because usually you do the move inputs before you do the attack button. I may be very wrong on this fighting game business. We're gonna find out. Yogami's hands morphed into a blur. He grabbed Kusanagi in the air and slammed him onto the ground. His attacks, fueled with every last drop of his power, washed over his opponent like an unstoppable waterfall. Kusanagi couldn't even hold his posture anymore. Desperation move. Keen 1211 Shiki Yotome. KO. Yes! 3 months of expenses! See how it's done, you little punk? After the ceremony, I was about to duck out of the arcade quietly when the punk kid suddenly blocked my way. What? You want to look for a real fight now? Don't you know my fame of beating up both a senior home and a kindergarten on the same day? Excuse me? I quietly thought to myself. Oh. But also, no, beating up old people and kids is not a great look, Jimmy. Congratulations, mister. I bought you this newspaper as a special gift to you. I took the newspaper. It was some random tabloid. Cover page. Headline. Despicable. Hong Kong youth molests child in the street? What the hell was this? Several months ago, I had beaten up the little punk primary school killer pretty badly in another casual tournament. Then, a few days later, an article began circulating on the internet about me taking off my pants on the street and mooning some little kid. There was even a picture to go with it. Yet, whether you judged it by the shape or the percentage of body fat, that was not my butt in the picture. And the funny thing was, when I tried to remove the censor boxes from the picture through some technical magic, I realized that the kid in the picture was exactly this little punk. When had I ever had a picture taken with him? Besides, what kind of twisted mind would make up such a gross and embarrassing idea in the first place? Not to mention actually going through the trouble of faking a picture. Afterwards, I had to hack a dozen websites to delete all of the related articles. And now you had it printed on paper? I didn't know who was more despicable in this whole ordeal. In any case, the more despicable the story was, the faster it traveled. People would always believe this kind of garbage. People in the arcade were starting to stare at me. I knew they had not just come here for the tournament today. What? Did you expect me to tear the paper into pieces and make a scene? Screw you, you little punk. I stuffed the newspaper into the bag with my prize and walked out of the arcade. It was drizzling outside. Life is Good was playing in my headphones. I decided to not take a cab and just walked back to the apartment. I bumped into a few people, but nobody gave me any trouble or even a second look. Yeah, why bother myself with other people's opinions? This was my life, the one that I had always wanted. Well, that was the best ending for Jimmy. It seems like he's grown up and moved past his high school crush. And I would say this is an actual problem here. Primary school killer faking blackmail. Totally a shitty move. Do not recommend. And oh, hey, Jimmy's picture has changed to reflect how he looks now. Just really quickly, I want to see. Life is Good. Here we are. Yep, Life is Good was the music that I was playing. As he said, life was good is in his earphones. Something that I've quickly discovered is a lot of these are royalty-free tracks. Which again, I think is really, really really great use. But let's take a quick look at the profiles now that we have a grown-up Jimmy. So the new information we got for Spotty when I went through the extra endings is that Spotty's special attack is the Unstoppable Meow Punch. This is not actually the case. If I just go back to Spotty here we are, Spotty. Where is my history? Here we are. The ultimate skill used by the one and only Spotty. The Fist of the Unbreakable Caddy Spotty! Since Rocky actually doesn't have the dashes leading forward like everyone else has, Spotty actually also doesn't have those dashes, which makes me wonder. I wonder if it's because this is like a spin-off thing. But in Rocky's case, that's Rocky's main timeline. So, the extra profile bit we get from Rocky is that the rumor that started about Li Wen with being with Mr. Wen was actually started by Rocky because he went through his roommate's computer. And granted, Jimmy's not that great for like taking those pictures of Li Wen being a stalker and shit. But Rocky took that and uploaded it to the school BBS. So, once again, Rocky, you are in fact an absolute shithead. Damn. And now we have Jimmy. Jimmy has since grown up. Oh, here's the full body image. Can I switch back? Yep, and here's high school Jimmy. So now that we have full Jimmy, grown-up Jimmy, his ID has switched to his Hong Kong permanent identity card, and this actually looks very much like the real thing, which I'm pretty amazed about, honestly. But yeah, despite growing up, Jimmy's not completely grown up yet. Jimmy may also beginning to take his fashion tips from fighting game characters just based off those boots. So this gives us an idea of how long it's been since. At 23, so 5 years later, unverified rumors about molesting boys in the street were published in gossip magazines. It looks like I've missed something in between here, so that's something I'm wondering about. But that's it for this time. Man, we came across a lot, huh? This wonderful world is getting more and more convoluted. And next time, we'll be back to see even more twists and turns. We'll see you then.